Hi, I'm Anna Tierney, and I'm on the School of Hollywood.
Well, welcome to the School of Hollywood, and you're on a hit show right now on Amazon Prime, Three Pines, which comes from the producers of the Crown, Left Bank Pictures. It's based on a book, correct?
Yeah, many books, actually. It's based on a series of novels written by Louise Penny, who is a multi-award-winning, best-selling Canadian novelist. And yeah, she's written, I think she just released maybe her 18th book even. Yeah.
Only 18? I mean, well, come
Who's counting?
on. You play Claire in the TV series, and she is an artist. Did you have an experience as an artist before getting into the series?
I had some experience, yeah. My family is quite artistic, and my dad was an actor before he passed away, but he was also very artistic, and he was an incredible illustrator. And when he was younger, he worked in a print shop. And my mum studied fine art, and she's a wonderful painter, and she also crochets jewelry. And I actually wore a lot of that jewelry as Clara in the show because it was so perfect for her character, because she's very organic. And it didn't make sense to wear kind of lots of metal things as that character, so I ended up wearing a lot of my mum's jewelry that she'd made. And my sister is a jeweler, actually, and she made all these pieces. And she's also an incredible artist as well. And so I grew up with all of that, and was also very good at drawing and painting and so on. But acting became the focus, and you've only really got so much time to dedicate to one thing. So that's kind of the direction I went. But I'm finding myself now coming back around to the art, not just in this character, which I was so happy to play an artist because that had featured so much in my life and my upbringing, I guess. And but I just recently started on a journey into pottery, and so all of my skills and interests in art and painting, and it's all gone into this art form that I've just discovered, and I'm absolutely obsessed with. So yeah.
Have you gotten into do anything on the digital world, like Procreate on the iPad?
I have, actually, and I shared a few things on my social media, just sort of like, yeah, I kind of did it for fun and just sort of put it out there. And so, like, cartoons, illustrations, and I really enjoyed working with Procreate because there's just no mess. You get to like choose all the different pens, and you can erase it immediately, but you don't have to bring all the pens and brushes and do all the washing up. And there was something very freeing, actually, in working on a digital medium. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I love it. I actually like to create my own brushes inside it. I'll go outside and take a picture and make a little stamp on it, and you can do some really cool things in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen David Hockney. I don't know if you know his work. I mean, he's worked with every kind of medium, but now in his 80s, he started to work with the iPad and with a computer and created these incredible pieces with probably Procreate or something similar. And just
Mhm.
incredible.
So, how would you? I've watched the series, but I really don't know how I would tell somebody what it's about. So, in your own words,
Yeah.
what is it?
What is it? What is Three Pines? I mean, Three Pines, it kind of straddles two different worlds, I think, is the first thing maybe to say. It's set in Quebec, and you have the world of Montreal and the Sûreté de Quebec, which is the national police force. And you've got Alfred Molina, who plays Inspector Gamache, and he kind of heads the police team there. And in that world, Alfred's character becomes very concerned and involved with the story, or with the case of a missing Indigenous girl. And the more he becomes involved in that, the more his superiors become unhappy with him. And as a kind of unofficial punishment, they send him to Three Pines to investigate a murder. And then we get introduced into the world of Three Pines, which is this quirky village in the Eastern Townships. And Inspector Gamache comes there inspecting to find out what happened in this murder case, and then very slowly becomes enveloped into the world of the town itself. So you've got these two different worlds that are interacting with each other at the same time. And I would say the show as a whole, for me, I think about it in terms of lightness and dark, that maybe we all have shades of light and dark, and we go to both of those things at different times, and that kind of yin and yang. And Inspector Gamache is one of those people who is drawn to people and leads with empathy and kindness on the whole. And so, yeah, we have this light and dark, but it's also a very comforting and human show.
Would you live in that town?
Oh, it's so magical. It's honestly what they did to this town in the Eastern Townships to make it look like Three Pines from the novels is just incredible. Amazon and the whole team did an amazing job. Yeah.
So working with Alfred, he is one of the legends of Hollywood, both television and film. Is there anything that you saw while he was acting, a trick that you may have not known in acting that you could steal and use?
He was, I don't know how he did it. He could be telling a joke, which he liked to do. He was brilliant at telling jokes and boosting morale and creating a really good atmosphere on set. And then action would be called and he'd be straight into it. And so somehow he had everything he needed to access his character and whatever energies and rhythms his character required of him. And that's maybe a skill that you can only really learn after however many years in the business, I think. Not to kind of obsess about staying in the moment all the time, but just to know how to jump in when it's required of you. So I'd say that was the thing I was so impressed with, and something that I'll definitely try and use more in my own work.
So it wasn't the sense memory. Give me 2 minutes. Let me prep for the scene here. It was action. Let's go. The camera's running. Dollars are going.
No, you never caught Fred Molina asking for 2 minutes for a sense memory. That didn't happen.
While shooting the TV series, was there anything that kind of gave you the creeps in the things that were reacting in the city?
Yeah, definitely. There's you see, so it's called in the novels, it's called the Hadley House, and in the adaptation for screen, this kind of haunted house that features in all the novels takes on a slightly different narrative in the TV series. And the history that they put into the house and the version that we use in our stories is that it was an old residential school. And so people then start to buy this property and they live in it, and terrible things happen in there, and it has this terrible history and ghost attached to it. And even though it originally wasn't a residential school in real life, just the narrative around that place and the fact that every part of that building was used in filming. So there's a basement where they discover, is where children were kept in the school, and it's where other things get discovered as well. I don't want to give too much away, but that house definitely had a haunted vibe to it. It was on this peninsula as well, so it was incredibly windy and cold, and it just had this energy about it that was, it did give you the shivers, quite literally.
Did you have a hard time sleeping at night?
Sometimes, but I think for different reasons. I think when I'm sleeping by myself in hotel rooms, I find that very creepy, to be honest. I never quite feel at home.
Understandable.
Yeah.
So tell me about your process of getting the job. Did you have to do a live audition, or was it Zoom and then a network test? And what was that experience for you?
Yeah. Well, we were still in the time of the pandemic, so everything was done over Zoom. And there were several stages to that. And the audition, I was aware that the audition might be coming some months ahead because I had actually worked with the writer and creator of the show, Emilia De Girolamo, on her previous project, which was called Deceit for Channel 4 in the UK. And after filming that, Emilia reached out to me and sent me a lovely message, which doesn't always happen after a filming production. And she told me about this project, and then it was going to be filming in Canada. And she knew that I was out there and I was between Canada and London. And she told me about the novels and everything it was based on. And she didn't know when the auditions would be happening, but she just told me all of this, shared it with me very generously. And so I took it upon myself to buy as many of the novels as I thought I could read, and got into the literature by Louise Penny, and very quickly found myself relating most to this character that I'm now playing. And when the audition came, no one knew what to expect. Emilia had only seen me in this one other role, and even if they liked me, it would still have to go to network, and they would have to approve. And luckily, it all worked out. So, yeah, that was my journey into it, and it was a really nice way to come at the audition, because usually you get maybe a few days, a week at most, to prepare for an audition. But I kind of had the privilege of reading the novels in advance and letting that sink in terms of character work and depth, and just letting it kind of simmer on the surface.
What's the big difference that you've seen from acting in England to America to Canada?
That's an interesting question. I mean, every project varies so much just from project to project, depending on who your production company is. And working on this project in London for Channel 4, a much smaller production, but no less weighty or brilliant. And maybe I'd say UK productions have a certain grit to them, and especially in the crime genre, I think there's a grittiness and a darkness to British shows that maybe isn't always as present in Canadian work. But I think that's changing. The stereotype that all Canadians are just sweet and lovely is a bit, it's a bit counterproductive. We know that, there are just as many naughty Canadians as there are nice ones. And I think that Canadian film and TV is starting to lean more into its edges, which is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, the British television, one of my favorite shows it was on was MI5. You guys called it Spooks over there. The intensity of the CIA or MI5 versus an American is like 10 times much more intense. Watching it, amazing series. It actually made James Bond look weak, to be honest.
Yeah, James Bond. I mean, that's a league of its own.
Exactly. Well, speaking of famous people, your dad was in some amazing projects, Star Wars, and then he was in Braveheart. So what was it like as a kid knowing that your dad was in Star Wars?
Well, I think my dad wasn't really like a Star Wars nerd, and certainly when he filmed it, they didn't know it was going to be a success. They were just filming this strange indie, weird sci-fi film, and they had no idea it would be the success it was, to the point where I don't think his character even had a name to start with, even though he has a speaking role. But they when it became a big hit, he's in the encyclopedia, he has his own figurine, you know, and so I wasn't exposed to too much of the sort of sci-fi madness as a kid, but he was in shows like Lovejoy with Ian McShane, which I was much more aware of growing up. I don't know if you guys had that show. So Ian McShane, who you maybe know from Deadwood, and he plays this antiques dealer, and my dad was like the regular bad guy who just keeps getting the wool pulled over his eyes by Lovejoy. He just keeps failing, so yeah, he played a lot of baddies, even though he was a lovely man. I think he just understood that archetype, and I think for me it was just how he was at home. He was, well, I should say he passed away 8 years ago, but the way that he was he could hold court with people, and he could really bring you into his circle and make you feel like you were being listened to. And he was incredibly charming and funny, and he just knew how to hold your attention and make you laugh. And it was this thing that I think actors of his generation were so brilliant at, and that we're maybe going in less of a direction now. But yeah, it was his being, he was always kind of switched on and electric, and those people are so few and far between. So yeah, it was a massive loss for me when he passed away, and I think for a lot of people he was a real sparkling light. And actually Alfred Molina, I discovered when we were working, I mentioned my dad because I always check with actors of a similar generation if they knew him. And I said, "Oh, do you know my dad, Malcolm Tierney?" And he stopped in his tracks and he looked at me, and the kind of light bulb went on, and realized who I was. And he started to, tears came to his eyes, and he stopped and he hugged me. And he said, "I knew your dad. I worked with him many years ago." And then he, for the rest of that day, he was telling me stories about my dad, and doing these brilliant impressions. Even though he hadn't probably seen him in years and years, it was like seeing my dad in front of me. Alfred just like embodied him all of a sudden. And that was very, very special. It's always nice to meet people who know your parents, especially if they've passed away.
What advice did your dad give you about acting?
Don't do it. Which isn't helpful, because you always want to rebel against that and go, "Oh, why don't you want me to do it? Do you not think I'm good enough?" And, "Well, I am going to do it." It doesn't really ever work. I think you just, my mum always just encouraged me to do whatever I felt was the thing that I wanted to do. But I think, however successful my dad was, it was still very, very hard. It's a hard career choice and life choice. And yeah, nothing is ever certain in this kind of career. And you just have to be okay with that. And he was also very political as well. And I think, he felt that impacted his career in some senses as well. But yeah.
Well, in School of Hollywood, we always ask a question to help motivate and guide actors on the way. If you had to go back into your first meeting with an agent, what question would you ask the agent that you never ask?
What question would I ask the agent? I would really want to know how they were going to work for me. So which I wouldn't have known to ask then because I was just clueless. I would have asked them, what inspires you about me and my person, and what do you think you can do for me in that sense? I mean, it's such a difficult question because it's all unpredictable. You can say, "How many auditions will you get me?" And they'll say, "I don't know. We don't know the future." But I think knowing that your agent is, or your potential future agent could be inspired by you. And I would tell myself to be myself more and not worry about being something else, something perfect or presentable, or because that's not really interesting.
How long did it take before you felt that you were really an actor in your career?
I think I always felt like I was really an actor, but I think my approach and energy towards it has maybe changed. I think at drama school, I very much felt like acting and the craft was everything. It was the only thing that existed. And now I think I've matured and mellowed a little, and I don't let it control all aspects of my life or what makes me a happy human. I think I'm much more able to let it go and to enjoy myself on set. What was the question?
When you felt that you've made it as an actor?
When I felt okay. I mean, there's always something to be said for getting that kind of external validation from someone else. I think this particular journey now has really given me a lot of confidence, and having someone like Emilia de Girolamo be so generous and just extend that kindness and that curiosity about me and about, I'm sure, all the people that she works with. It makes a real difference to the confidence that you allow yourself to have about your work and the belief that you have in yourself, because for the most part you really have to just rely on your own intuition and good sense, and keep pumping your own tires. But there's always something to be said for someone else doing that for you, and it goes a long way.
You brought up a point that I think is very valid, and that is newer actors have a tendency to be 24 hours a day, nothing but thinking about acting. Mm-hmm. But you have to be able to experience real life to really, truly be a real actor.
Very true. Very true. I think that's why, you don't always see the youngest kids getting into drama school, because I would hear that our tutors often say, we want people to go and experience the world, at least take a gap year before you come to drama school, because as soon as you leave, you're enveloped in that sense of, oh, I can't go anywhere because I might, book a job, and I think you have to be able to live your life and book a holiday if you can afford it, and just do those things for yourself. Otherwise, you'll always feel like you're ruled by something out of your control. And I think that's why it's also important to have other interests that you maybe do have a bit more control of from beginning to end. I think that's maybe also a wise thing to do.
Where can people find you on social media?
On Instagram, it's Anna Tierney with a few extra Y's because I couldn't get my name. So yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, which I don't use very much, but I'm not on Facebook. And yeah.
Well, that's great. I really appreciate you being here today. Much success in your career. Definitely with the TV series. It's definitely a good one, and that's going to lead to more and more projects for you. And I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. It's been really nice chatting to you.